Every day, that is the requirement. But the day of nikah, it is a greater requirement, as I said, because when we are coming into the masjid, we need to ensure that it is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we do not do anything to earn the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be more sinful to go to the haram in Makkah and commit a sin than to commit a sin here in South Africa, though they are both sins and we need to abstain from both of them. So I have not minced my words here. We need separate facilities, and it is not impossible. Even if we have a large wedding, remember one thing, to have a walima must be according to your capacity, capability, your pocket. It is against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to go out and get debts and say, you know, my son is getting married or I am getting married, so I need to borrow money in order to fulfill this and that. No, that is against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. For your information, to go out and get unnecessary credits, meaning to go and get money from people unnecessarily, is totally against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He did not used to read salatul janaza on those who used to have debts. He used to ask, does this person have a debt? If he was told yes, he says, Sallu ala sahibikum, and he would walk away. Make salatul janaza on him and he would walk away. The Sahaba would feel so hurt at times. They would say, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I am the one who's going to fulfill this debt. I take it on me. So now he would read salatul janaza. This is how serious it is. Today, for any small thing we want to take money, etc., etc. And the occasion of nikah, we should make sure. Let us have our nikahs as simple as possible. Whether it's big or small, if it is within the framework of the Sharia and we have stayed away from that which is haram, we are allowed to have it big. And we are allowed to have it small, depending on our capacity and capability. But the criteria is, we need to ask ourselves, is it in conformity to the Sharia that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed? If it is, we will be, inshallah, trying to earn the barakah, and the barakah will descend from the skies, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal. And we need to understand one more point. When it comes to photography, whether it is a little camera, or whether it is a video camera, whatever sort of photography it is, totally unacceptable in the Sharia. Let us not be confused by the viewpoints that are going around in the world today. It is something that we must understand. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned something, and remember one thing, if the ulama, and as far as I know, our akabirin are not divided on this. But if the ulama of the world are divided on an issue, remember one thing, to abstain from it is far better, because it becomes a point where there is a difference of opinion. Someone is telling you this food is halal and others are saying it's haram. What are you going to do? If you want to protect yourself, stay away from that and go to something that everyone is going to say, this is okay and this is permissible. So this is something we need to understand regarding the Sharia. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us in hadith of Nu'man ibn Bashir, radiyallahu anhu, إِنَّ الْحَلَالَ بَيِّن وَإِنَّ الْحَرَامَ بَيِّن. Halal is very clear and manifest. Everyone knows this is allowed and this is halal. Haram is also very clear and manifest. Everyone knows this is haram. وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ لَا يَعْلَمُهُنَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ. In between there is a grey area that people, remember, in the eyes of Allah it's one of the two. But as human beings, sometimes we are not so sure, is this halal or haram? The hadith says very clearly, if you fall into it, فَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Whoever falls into this area, they have fallen into haram. You are not sure, is this halal or haram? So you are taking a risk. Risking what? Risking your iman and your deen. Can you afford that today? Can we afford it today? This is one of the reasons why the Muslim ummah is seen to be failing. We are not bothered. To be honest, we do what we want to do. And we will find gunjaish, that is the word. We will find permissibility from anyone. We go to one mufti, you know, is this permissible? And he will say no. We will not stop. We will not sleep. We will go to the other one, and the third one, and the fourth one, until we have crossed the continents. And we go to someone who says it's permissible. Now we say, yes, now I can sleep, because I found the permissibility. Is that what deen is all about? Is deen going around and finding permissibilities from everywhere? If that is the case, you will find people who will tell you that those things which are clearly haram, people might say that it's halal. Does that make it halal? Wallahi, it doesn't. So iman is in the heart, and this is why at the end of the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, listen, there is a piece of flesh in the body. أَلَا وَإِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ لَمُضْغَةً. There is a piece of flesh in the body. If that piece is going to be pure and clean, the entire body will be pure and clean. And if that piece is going to be contaminated, it reminds me of the bird flu and the mad cow disease. What do they do to the cows? They've got to slaughter all of them, because there is contamination. The same applies to your heart. If it is contaminated, your whole body, your a'mal, your iman, your deen, everything becomes contaminated, and everything will be moving in the wrong direction. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us strong. So remember this, whenever we have a function, whether it is a religious function or just a social function, ensure that we have earned the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wallahi, if we do it with sincerity, if Allah is to take us away at that moment, inshallah we will have a green light straight through to Jannah. Because we have done it only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have done it only to earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is another point I'd like to mention here. If sometimes we have committed a sin, remember one thing, don't justify it. If we try to justify it, it becomes a bid'ah and we will never be able to rectify ourselves, because we will be arguing it's right what I'm doing. But if there is a sin being committed, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from sin.